Hey, what's good? Have you ever realized how red states make it seem as if they are fiscally more responsible than blue states? In this video, Robert Reich talks about how blue states actually help red states. And this is important because there are states that would fail if it wasn't for places like New York, Chicago, and gasp, even California. I'm going to be working on texturing some models in Photoshop and Blender, but before we get into it, remember to go to coconutjustice.com and get you some clothes that I think would look good on you. Let's go. Yep, let's find out how you guys think California is so evil and so, I read some messages out there where some people were saying that God hates Hollywood and that's why Hollywood was on fire, la la la. Meanwhile, if it wasn't for Hollywood, if it wasn't for California being the fourth or fifth largest economy, Chicago raking it in, New York raking it in, all these big places that you guys think is full of the devil, they're keeping you guys up. They're keeping you guys up. So you guys are literally, there's some states like Kentucky and Mississippi and stuff like that that would probably be absorbed into the neighboring state if it wasn't for places like California. Let's see what Robert Reich has to say. He's been on the channel before. We've watched some of his content before. Let's see what he has to say.
Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress love to demonize government handouts, which in fact their own supporters depend on and are increasingly financed by taxpayers.
Robert is coming out. He's swinging. Oh my goodness. It's true. It's true. Anyway, let's get back into it.
States.
It's true.
The federal program Temporary Assistance for Needy Families.
You guys, there are some people in the United States that talk so much trash about handouts versus hand-ups and all this other stuff. And most of those people are living in a welfare state, a literal state on welfare. But then when you talk about minorities like needing help, and I'm not talking the illegal ones, I'm talking about us, the people that belong here, the people that, not for anything, make this place better. But when we need help, it's, it's socialism and it's welfare and it's all this stuff. But in 2008, not one person, after all of these crooked people bankrupted the entire planet, not one person went to jail. I have never, ever, ever in my life heard of helping someone with food and possibly rent and, whatever else. That has never crashed the nation, the national economy, but not just that, but the global economy. Helping people and setting people up for success is not a bad idea. And if you're afraid of educated people, you need to get the hell out of power.
Used to call welfare, provides cash assistance to fewer than 1% of Americans. But the Trump administration is proposing to lump many social programs under a new...
Oh, and this is 6 years old, so whatever. Like, he's talking about Trump, la, 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 la. It's the first go-round for Trump, not the second go-round. Right now, he's making a bunch of changes, and he's making everybody nervous. We'll see how that washes out.
With the word welfare in its title. A recent White House report on imposing work requirements, for example, put Medicaid, food assistance, and housing aid into a rebranded program called non-cash welfare. Defined this broadly, a large chunk of America relies on welfare. Add in disability benefits, unemployment insurance, and medical benefits. Such so-called welfare amounts to 17% of the average American's income. Welfare has become especially unpopular in red states that vote Republican and support Trump. But these same states are often the biggest beneficiaries of government assistance. If you include price supports for agriculture...
Like, how much Mitch McConnell talks so much trash, and he talks about, he's got a very strong opinion about reparations and stuff like that. His opinion to me makes no sense, and From what I understand, he's about to be retired soon, thank God. But he doesn't have a problem, or he has a problem with reparations and paying the check that they wrote. But then when it comes to corporate welfare and rich people getting richer, he's all in on that stuff.
Subsidies for land management and forestry and defense contractors, and you find that a large portion of the economies of red states depend on federal dollars. Now here's the irony.
Kentucky
Residents
is one of those.
Blue states send more tax money to Washington than they get back in federal help, while residents of red states send less money to Washington than they get back in federal help.
Make it make sense.
In 2015, for example, New Jersey got
Make it make sense. And those are the states that talk so much trash. And then they watch their little Fox News and stuff, and then they get all confused. Bitch, you are on welfare.
74 cents in federal spending for every tax dollar it sent to Washington. New York got back 81 cents for every dollar. Connecticut, 82 cents for every dollar. Massachusetts, 83 cents. But when you turn to the red states, it's the opposite. Mississippi received $2.13 for every tax dollar it sent.
And again, for our money's worth, what does Mississippi bring to the table? What does Mississippi bring to the table? Brett Favre, but then he turned into a crook. What else? After Brett Favre, what else?
Washington, West Virginia, $2.07 per dollar. Kentucky, $1.90 for every dollar it sent to Washington. And South Carolina, $1.71. Taking the Trump administration's expansive view of the meaning of welfare to its logical conclusion, to include all those benefiting from federal spending, blue states are sending welfare to red states. The same red states...
And red states have a very strong opinion as to how things are supposed to be spent. And don't go thinking that they don't have corruption. Like, how are you going to be broke as shit and still be corrupt? And still try to tell California and Chicago. Like, there's parts of Illinois that seriously want to break away from Chicago. If it wasn't for Chicago, something tells me that the rest of Illinois would be just like these guys. It's nothing but country out there. And how much corn and how much soybeans do you guys think you're going to grow?
Like welfare. Under Trump's tax law, blue states will be giving even more welfare handouts to red states. That's because the law sets new limits on the amounts of state and local taxes people can deduct from their federal taxable incomes. And since people in blue states pay much more state and local taxes than people in red states, blue staters will be paying that much more in federal taxes, which means an even bigger transfer from blue state residents to all those red state Republican voters whose party despises handouts. Now, I should add that some of us here in blue states don't mind giving red states a bigger helping hand. The vast majority of Americans also oppose cuts to programs that aid the poor, elderly...
Yeah, because we're begging. We're begging for you guys to invest in education. Because not for anything, but like all of this whole mentality, and that it's so twisted. It's so twisted. And then again, you think that you're better and you're not. They have you convinced that you're better and you're not making that money. You're just wasting away. You're just wasting away and being a literal welfare state. Good Lord. And then you talk trash about LA and the fire and all this stuff. You guys don't know. You guys don't think that there's a bunch of people in California that have the waterways figured out and they have it all dialed up the way that it's supposed to be done? You know? You have horrible education. Louisiana, notorious for having horrible education. Same for Mississippi and whatever else is going on down there, right? So you have horrible education, and then you're going to try to come over to California to tell them how to put out fires and how to rake the forest. You don't think that they have scientists and they have environmentalists, you don't think that these people know what the hell they're talking about? They're literal scientists looking at this stuff, not some fat cat behind some desk eating McDonald's. We're not talking about them. We're not talking about them that get funded by people who convince you dummies, you uneducated people, that you know better. You're on welfare. You don't know better.
Most Americans figure we're all in this together, and those of us who can do so ought to help out those in need.
We're begging you to fix the education system.
We call it social insurance. Indeed, social insurance is needed and used by almost all of us when you include Social Security, Medicare, and unemployment insurance.
And think of it like this. When you open up a company, you might have business insurance, especially if you're doing services, if you're doing construction, stuff like that. You have to have money on the side just in case. This is exactly that.
Programs relied upon mostly by the poor end up helping a large portion of us because roughly 1/3 of all Americans are poor at some point in their lives. So remember, attacks on so-called welfare are really just another means of attacking the things most of us need and dividing the country into us and them.
Versus them.
In reality, voters in red states are as dependent on the federal government as voters in blue states. And in truth, even more dependent.
More. Yeah. When's the last time you heard anything to the effect of, ooh, that big technology boom in a red state? When the gold rush, the virtual gold rush of whatever, like when's the last time you were like, whoo, they're hiring people like crazy? And I'm sorry, Wyoming, I don't know where you are as far as the money goes, but you don't ever hear people saying, whoa, it's really popping off in Wyoming. Definitely not Kentucky. And I know for a fact Kentucky is one of the biggest welfare states that we have in the United States. And you have people coming out of that state trying to tell, we'll call it the left-leaning or the more liberal states, you're trying to tell them what to do. This is almost actually proving my point that if you set up a security system or a safety net for people, they're going to push a little harder and they're going to really go for it. They're going to feel comfortable trying to make something happen. And anything good that happens in the United States is going to benefit the United States. Look at how wonderful. I understand that some of you guys think that the internet is poison and all this stuff, but that's just because we're starting to learn how to use it. And it's a tool built perfectly for democracy. We're able to exchange ideas and try to figure out a better way to do things. If anyone sits there and says, I'm the only one that can fix it, don't listen to them. Not one person can do all that. Look at the mess that's happening right now. Plane crashes and all kinds of stuff. And then if you guys want to get cute, and then the blue states decide to just say, nah, we good. We're going to start our own thing. You guys are going to be crippled. And I'm not saying this in a way to get you guys pissed off. It's like a reality check. There are a lot of people that come from the red states that talk a lot of shit from people that are from California, that are from Chicago, that are from New York, that are from Oregon, all of these left-leaning places that are trying to do things a little more equally and trying to make it to where everyone can step up and take a job and be qualified. But no, you guys like it when people come and say, nah, we good. Americans are stupid and lazy. For me, that pisses me off to no end. I don't care who says it. If you are, especially if you're not from here and you're talking trash about Americans, you can, I'm done. You can go back where you came from. I don't care where that is. If you come into my house and talk shit about my family, you can kick rocks. It's just that simple. And then when they leave, then we have to get educated. We have to get people doing math, doing science, programming, all of those things that's actually going to move the ball forward. But you guys want to sit and talk shit about left-leaning blue states. Meanwhile, you're literally on welfare. Literally on welfare. I hope you learned something in this video. I also hope that you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Share it with each and every one of your friends. And if you want to come hang out with me and watch videos while I work on creative projects, hit that subscribe button and then click on the bell. So then that way, every time I come out with something new, you'll be alerted. Don't forget to go to coconutjustice.com and get you some dope gear. And with that, I'm out.